Welcome to the Modern Man Insights channel.
When you picture a samurai, what comes to mind? Honor? Discipline? Maybe the glint of steel, the rustle of silk armor, or the silent weight of centuries-old tradition pressing on young shoulders? Maybe that fierce look in their eye, like they already know how their story ends. But behind that gaze is a lifetime of training, sacrifice, and a constant dance with death. Imagine being a samurai boy in feudal Japan. Before dawn, you're roused from your futon by the chill of morning air, the scent of tatami mats and incense lingering as you bow to your elders. Here's the thing, samurai boys were raised not just to fight, but to die, and to do it well. From the moment they could walk, sons of samurai were handed wooden swords and told, your life isn't yours, it belongs to your lord, your family, your code. Fathers would kneel beside their sons, guiding their hands on the bokken, whispering lessons about courage and sacrifice as cherry blossoms drifted in the courtyard. That code, Bushido, the way of the warrior. Written in elegant brushstrokes, Bushido was more than words. It was a living contract, recited and memorized, etched into the hearts of every samurai child. Sounds poetic, but it was ruthless. Training was relentless. Hours spent perfecting sword strikes, running barefoot over gravel until their feet bled, learning to ignore pain and hunger. The clang of bamboo swords echoed through the dojo, sweat and determination mingling in the air. Loyalty came first, even over your own survival. Samurai boys watched their fathers kneel before their daimyo, swearing fealty in solemn ceremonies, knowing that one day they too would bow and pledge their lives. And this isn't just about swinging swords or looking stoic. Daily life was a balance of violence and refinement. Mornings might begin with sword drills, but afternoons were spent practicing calligraphy, composing poetry, or meditating in tranquil gardens. A real samurai was expected to master poetry, calligraphy, and the subtle art of expressing emotion through ink and verse. Haiku about fleeting beauty, letters to loved ones, and philosophical musings filled their journals. The art of steadying the mind was as important as the sword. Zazen meditation taught them to quiet fear, to find stillness before the storm of battle. Why? Because if you couldn't stare death in the face, you'd freeze at the moment of truth. There are stories of young samurai, barely teenagers, standing in duels, hands trembling, hearts pounding, forced to master their terror or die in shame. And that more than dying was the thing to fear. The shame of hesitation, the disgrace of failing your code, haunted them more than the enemy's blade. Death wasn't some distant possibility, it was a constant companion, lurking in every shadow, every training accident, every skirmish. Samurai children visited ancestral graves, learning to honor those who fell young. It was a companion like the cherry blossom that blooms brilliantly, then falls. The samurai saw themselves in those petals, beautiful, brief, and destined to return to the earth. Samurai didn't expect to see old age. Many wrote farewell poems as children, preparing for the day their story would end on the battlefield or in service. Instead, they focused on living and dying with honor. Every bow, every ritual, every act was a rehearsal for that final moment. Dishonor could only be washed away by seppuku, ritual suicide. The act was performed with calm dignity, witnessed by friends and enemies alike, a final testament to the samurai's resolve. For us, that's unthinkable, but for them, it was the last proud act of a man who'd failed but refused to live in shame. Discipline was their backbone, forged in the fires of daily hardship and emotional struggle. Early mornings, relentless training, keeping emotions in check. Even as children, they learned to mask fear and sadness, to show only resolve and respect. It wasn't about being cold. Samurai wept for lost friends, wrote poems for fallen brothers, and cherished moments with family. Even as they prepared to leave them behind, it was about being ready to act, to sacrifice, to meet fate with open eyes and a steady hand. Today, the world's changed, but the echoes of that code are still out there. In Japanese martial arts, in business, in the quiet discipline of everyday life, in anyone who holds themselves to a higher standard, who faces hardship with dignity, who gives more than they take. Maybe that's the real lesson. Masculinity isn't about what you can take, it's about what you're willing to give up for something greater. The samurai's greatest strength was not his sword, but his willingness to surrender everything for honor, loyalty, and love. Subscribe and stick around for more deep dives into history's toughest codes. Centuries may have passed, but the spirit of the samurai is far from gone. In fact, it's woven into the very fabric of modern Japan, shaping lives in ways both visible and subtle. In today's Japan, Bushido, the way of the warrior, still pulses quietly beneath the surface, shaping everything from martial arts to business culture. Its influence can be seen in the discipline of a judo champion, the humility of a CEO, and the quiet perseverance of a craftsman. Step into a modern dojo and you'll see echoes of samurai discipline everywhere. Take the story of Aiko, a young karateka from Osaka, who trains before sunrise every day. For her, karate is not just a sport. It's a path to self-mastery, a way to honor her family and her sensei. Karate, kendo, judo, these aren't just sports. They're living traditions, each with their own rituals and philosophies rooted in Bushido. They're lifelong journeys that teach respect, perseverance, and self-control. Sensei Nakamura, a kendo master in Tokyo, says, "The sword is a mirror, it reflects your heart. If you lack respect, the blade will show it." Bowing before stepping onto the mat isn't just tradition, it's a nod to the samurai code, a promise to honor your opponent as much as your own effort. This ritual, repeated thousands of times, shapes character as much as skill. But Bushido isn't only found in martial arts. Its principles echo in the boardrooms of Tokyo and the workshops of Kyoto. It's alive in the way Japanese workers approach their jobs, with loyalty to the team and an almost relentless pursuit of perfection. Consider the story of Misato, a project manager at a major tech firm, who credits her team's success to Makoto, sincerity and honesty, core tenets of Bushido. The concept of giri, duty and obligation, still guides relationships from family to business, echoing the old samurai's loyalty to their lord. In the world of business, leaders like Kazuo Inamori, founder of Kyocera, have spoken openly about using Bushido as a moral compass for ethical leadership. You'll find the samurai spirit in unexpected places too. In schools, children learn kendo not just for competition, but to cultivate rei, respect and courtesy. In the countryside, elderly gardeners tend their land with the same patience and devotion as a samurai tending his sword. Take Yukio Mishima, a 20th century writer and martial artist who lived and died by the ideals of honor and self-sacrifice. His controversial life and dramatic end sparked national debate about the meaning of honor in the modern world. Or look to the quiet resilience of everyday people rebuilding after hardship, drawing on values of discipline and courage. After the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, volunteers from all walks of life came together, embodying the samurai's spirit of selfless service. So what do we take from all this? Bushido is not just a relic of the past, it's a living philosophy, adapted and reinterpreted by each generation. The samurai remind us that strength isn't just physical, it's about character. It's about standing firm in your values, even when no one is watching. In a world obsessed with winning, maybe the real victory is holding yourself to a higher standard, giving your all for something bigger than yourself. Whether it's a marathon runner pushing through pain, a nurse working through the night, or a neighbor helping after a storm, Bushido lives on in acts of quiet courage. The way of the warrior may have started with swords, but its true legacy is in the choices we make every day. In the words of a young Aikido student, Bushido is not about fighting others, it's about fighting your own weaknesses. What will you stand for? The samurai spirit is waiting within all of us.